Alright, being that we're at the halfway point, I might as well just backtrack on what I said about what I said about the last chapter, about how you can actually do um, a comic book hero justice, at the same time actually give him a family to lean on. And this is something that has been talked about for years, especially with the Spider-Man situation, more so than the Superman situation. And the reason why I bring it up, because the next two chapters will solidify this, especially his decision making from here on out. Um, Needless to say, if you guys didn't agree with my feelings on that, that's fine. But when I hear editors, not much as the writers so much, but editors who make these excuses saying you can't write heroes and have them have a family, I always question why. I always question what is it that they're trying to do. I am planning to review One More Day very, very soon. But needed to say, most of the stuff that Lankara said, as well as Helsing 920 have said, as well as a lot of people have said, it pretty much hit the market that that the choice that they've done was poor. This one here shows what you can do and why, even though the idea that their favorite hero will go old, the legacy will always move on through their bloodline. And in this one, it shows this. Again, I actually like the fact that this man took this risk. This book took that risk. I'm going to show you the book, chapter 3, here in a nutshell. Here, this is here. It's a very good picture, by the way. It's a tall telling picture, and really, without really going too deep into details, it's his decisions and his motivations. What he does in this particular chapter is for the interest, not for himself. It's not for any giant cause. It's to protect his family and also to compromise against a people who's been going after him for years. And that's the kind of compromise that is very difficult to do, as well as maintaining that, hey, these are the people who try to kill him at one point because of who he is. And it solidifies this in this chapter, because during their big fight scene between him and the government, you hear one of the soldiers say, "This monster, this animal needs to be locked up. We need to find out what he is. We need to find out where he gets his power from. He needs to be put down." And although they don't think he hears them, he has Superman's powers. He can hear what is going on, and he realized that there is definitely fear. The government is afraid of him. This is real life here. This is one of the reasons why I don't really have a problem with the Man of Steel movie, where they didn't embrace him. They didn't know who he was. To him, they don't know what kind of power he does. And I think they did. I think it wasn't until after he realized he was saving them that they said, "Okay, he's not the enemy. The other guys are." This doesn't seem to be the same thing, but more in a realistic terms. Let's get to the beginning here. He's married now. They moved out of the city. Lois Lane is now a big shot designer liaison. She's doing great. She's doing well. Clark, no longer working for New Yorker, but now an author. He's writing books. He's actually is happy with himself. Even though they're away, they still think of each other. And when they get together, they spend time for each other. He's happy. He's content, and he's feeling like life is good. He even gets some great news that his wife is now pregnant, not with one, but with twins, and he is very, very happy. He's like, now he's a family man. He's looking. He's waiting for this moment. However, after a dream sequence, after the events that happened with the government, and after him constantly having to be one step ahead, which he pretty much explains in details, being one step ahead of the government when it comes to them tracking him, trying to catch him. He realized he cannot continue to do this and not put his family in danger. He realized that he needs to come with some kind of agreement, because he can't continue doing this. He wants to help people, but at the same time, he needs the government to realize he's not their enemy. The first attempt, he went and reached out to the government. He even told Lois, "I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to try and talk to them and try to say, this is what I am." It didn't go very well. Needless to say, he met a guy who was going to be one of the main contact guys throughout the rest of this book. His name is Malloy, and he's telling him, "Hey, look, I am not your enemy here. You are really making a mistake going after him." But again, their fear is what's causing them to act out, and they are just basically being aggressive. They're shooting missiles, the same missiles, but only more stronger this time, and it has gone to the point where he's forced to fight back. He didn't kill no one, but he's blowing stuff up. This didn't work. So what happened is, did he give up? No, he went to a different strategy. And this is where the Superman reference, in my opinion, is used perfectly. Every time they have a meeting, when they open up their folders, they see Action Comics. Every time they see something going on, Superman gets to play in there. When there's a news report, he plays reruns of the Superman stuff. He's showing all Superman references, and it's used it's such brilliantly that it pays off in the end. It was to the point where they actually finally meet again, Malloy and Superman. And actually, when they meet, it's not with the military behind them. It's not with them going against them, but it is with them just basically, meeting. He's letting them know, I am not your enemy. I'm not here. I could have easily taken down your whole government. I could easily take down your whole system. I didn't do that. I just want to send a message that I could, but I don't want to. And then he makes the deal. He's telling them, look, I will work with you. If you need something like a rescue mission, I will do that. He's not going to assassinate nobody. He's not going to destroy no governments. But if our man's in trouble, if our people needs to get out of a sticky situation, call on me. I will help you. And that's where the agreement comes in. So in many ways, they got him under surveillance, but it's now he's telling them, if you need some help, which they did, just leave me alone, let me do my thing, and if you need some help from time to time, I'll come help you out. And that's the compromise that it came in. Basically, he's allowing the government to use him. Not in a way that he's going to kill no one, not in a way he's going to blow anything up, but in a way of like a search and rescue operation, a way that if there's something that's going on that the government denies, he can actually reveal it and expose it for the truth that it really is. And that's what he's doing. He doesn't like being used, but this is probably the only way he can do at that moment to keep him off his back for his children's sakes, because his children right now is his importance. He's not thinking about nothing else. And for the record, this what separates this comic book from that other comic book, which I'm dreading to review in the near future. He's thinking about the overall big picture. He is going to be a father. He's thinking about his wife, who is worried but is being strong for his sake. And that's a telling of a person who is really have a lot up here, and not just thinking about his muscle and bronze and holding any hatred back. He loves what he do. He loves saving people. He has no beef with the government. And he understands why the government is after him. He understands how dangerous the government is, but he also understands he needs to come with some kind of a compromise if he's ever going to have, for his children's sake, to have a normal life. He doesn't want his children to live his life on the run. He wants them to have a normal life. And in this story, you see that. You see a lot of stuff that's going on, especially during the time where he didn't want to help the government, and that's when the birth of his twins. Once the twins was in labor, he was forced to take care of a situation in another country. It was a hostage situation. He needed to go in. At the same time, he needed to protect his own identity, and he does it very well. He didn't go in the front, he went to the side. He made a new doorway, and he did his mission. He saved the mission, as well as giving all the other secrets to the government that they need. And once he was done with that, he went back to his wife, and he was holding his two young daughters in his arms. In this chapter, this is the strongest part of this chapter. This is a very strong part of the whole entire series, because we've seen, again, the young Clark Kent from this version. We've seen the power and the stuff that he has to go through, who he must confine upon, and we're seeing him as a father, making sacrifices, making compromises for the sake of his family. And that alone, this one chapter was very, very powerful, because I was curious. on how he was going to do this, because again, that thought that the government constantly going after him never escaped him. Him being captured and being kept in a tube for testing never escaped him. And you're kind of wondering, with all that stuff going on, does he have any animosity? Is he going to attack him head on, or is he going to do something where it will keep them off his back? And he picked the right choice, even though he knows that they're going to lie to him about certain things and abuse their power. He still was willing to do it for the sake of his family. And this is something I really like about it. It is his family more so than anything else that he's doing what he's doing. He's still being Superman. He's still doing his stuff. He's still being careful. He's still going around saving people. But in terms of the military, he is willing to make that one small sacrifice, and it paid off. They stopped going after him. All right. They know if they need him, they send him a radar. He has sonic hearings. He hears it. He goes down there. He finds out what's going on. They tell him the mission. They tell him what the situation is. He take care of it. The army comes right behind him, and that's it. They know who he is. Technically, not they don't know who Clark Kent is, but Malloy is a different character, and I'll get to him in the next review. But they said, okay, we still fear him. We don't know what he's going to do, but he's working with us. Let's just use this opportunity. Let's just use, and I'm saying this strongly, weapon to our advantage against our enemies. At the same time, let's get our boys out of a dangerous spot. Now, for a lot of people, and I know I said this before, I said this a lot of times about Superman, about his vulnerabilities, about how he can, how if he's not careful, there's a time where he can be used as a weapon towards the government's needs. This is no exception. He is being used as a weapon. The only difference is, and this is very important, is that it's not an emotional response. Mind you, of the Red Planet, mind you of all the series where Superman had a tragedy, and he made the deal with the devil to get things done. He's not using his powers to enforce countries to bend to another country's will. He's not doing any of that. He's basically saying to them, he put down the cards on the table. He said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. But if you need this, you need this, and I can be of help to you, I will do that. But that's as far as I'm going to go. That's the difference. In Red Sun, he wanted the whole world to follow the same rule of what Superman and Russia was doing. In Superman, Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, he was being used as a weapon because they didn't want no more vigilantes running around. They didn't want no more superheroes. They wanted him, and they wanted him to take care of it, even though it was highly unlikely. In the Superman the Animated Series, when Lois Lane actually died in the alternate universe, he figured that the world needed to follow one order, and he made a deal with Lex Luthor to do it. These are all emotional response based on a tragedy, based on something he felt that needs to be done. This one here is the total opposite. Now you may say that's not making any sense. You may say that oh no, that is still the same thing. But understand this: he's not trying to rule the world. Understand he's not going to have the government try and bend the will of other people. He simply said, and I quote, "I will help you get certain people out of a situation, help expose a situation that can be dangerous to our men and to our people back home, but that's it." And that's exactly what he did. And it worked out for him, especially not in this chapter, but in the following chapter to come, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this is what I liked about this. All right, the compromise, as well as the invoice in his head to say, I'm gonna have to look at the bigger picture. Because once he had those nightmares, he realized, hey, government's still coming after me. I'm gonna be a father. I can't continue doing this. And this is something up for a good discussion, because this is one of the main things that a lot of people always have a bit of a debate with Superman, especially how what if Superman loses control? What if Superman uses his powers for evil? What if Superman uses his powers to control everything? He does have that ability. And this Superman story is no different. He has the ability to literally control the planet. Why do you think the government is scared of him? Why do you think the government is so hell-bent on capturing him, dissecting him, and find out where the hell he got this power from? Mind you, in this book, they have an idea where he got his power from. I'm not going to reveal what it is until the next chapter, because it's very important that I do one thing at a time here. But in this one here, there is a reason why they fear him. He's a Superman. He has superhuman strength. You honestly believe the government is going to say, oh, that's great, man, welcome to the board? No, they're going to be like, yo, we got to deal with this. He can take over the country. So this is more believable than most of the Superman movies I've seen. But you may disagree. But that's cool. What I will ask you to do is, if you do read this book, and those who have read this book, you know what I'm talking about. You read the chapters. You read the storyline behind this. Ask yourself this question. Would it have been less believable if the government didn't attack him? If the government didn't go after him and call him a monster or call him all the crazy things in the book? No, it wouldn't be believable. It would be virtually impossible to believable. No government officials is going to sit there and say, oh, this is wonderful news. And that's the thing about this book. That's the thing about this book that I actually enjoy. This is the strongest part of this chapter. For that reason alone. This is a very, very strong part. Now, the weakest part is the next chapter, even though it's still a good chapter. But there's a reason why it's the weakest part. And I think there's no question for those who have seen it why it's the weakest part. But I'll get to that in the next one. Until then, J77 saying take care, be safe, talk to you soon.